$149 million for broadband in Oregon. Massachusetts targets affordable housing for broadband infrastructure upgrades. SpaceX gets the green light to use E-band frequencies, and the FCC asks for a big budget boost. Those stories and more on This Week in the Broadband Universe. Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Craig Corbin. Applications will soon be accepted by the Oregon Broadband Office for line extension projects, middle mile networks, and expansion to underserved and unserved areas of the state. $149 million in CPF funding will be available. Providers will be required to deploy service at symmetrical speeds of 100 megabits per second. Applications may be made by municipalities, electric utilities, cooperatives, municipal affiliates, nonprofit organizations, along with private and for-profit entities. $21 million will be awarded in Massachusetts through the Residential Internet Retrofit Program. MBI, the Massachusetts Broadband Institute, is accepting letters of interest from operators of public and affordable housing to upgrade broadband infrastructure. The program will potentially impact more than 22,000 units in at least 500 housing developments in the state. The retrofit program represents 12% of the total Massachusetts CPF allocation. The U.S. Department of Agriculture has announced $58 million in broadband funding for tribal communities in Nevada, Oklahoma, and South Dakota. Projects will be funded in part through the Reconnect program, $35 million going to the Oglala Sioux tribe in South Dakota for a fiber-to-the-premises network, which will deliver high-speed internet to families, businesses, and schools in Bennett and Oglala Lakota counties. The Choctaw Nation in Oklahoma will receive a $22 million grant for a fiber-to-the-premises network in LaFleur County. Also receiving an infrastructure grant, the Yamba Shoshone tribe in Nevada. NTIA, the National Telecommunications and Information Administration, released a National Spectrum Strategy Implementation Plan this week, with technical work slated for completion by year's end. Included are timelines, milestones, and the responsible agencies for 2,786 megahertz of spectrum. Among the potential targets, the repackaging, compression, or relocation of airborne radars and other federal systems in the lower 3 gigahertz band, which would allow greater full power access for commercial use of that spectrum. Announcement of the National Spectrum Strategy was preempted on Capitol Hill by the release of a Republican-sponsored spectrum pipeline bill favoring high-power licensed use and requiring at least 1,250 megahertz of spectrum between 1.3 and 13.2 gigahertz to be auctioned. The bill proposes to extend FCC auction authority by 8 years and also offers another 125 megahertz of spectrum for unlicensed use. It's been just more than a year since the Federal Communications Commission's auction authority was allowed to lapse. In other FCC news, a report and order was approved on a 3-2 party line vote requiring cable and satellite pay TV operators to publish the actual total price of their video service, junk fees included. The Commission also officially adopted 100 megabits per second as the new benchmark for download speed, 20 for uploads. The 100 over 20, the first increase since 25 over 3, set back in 2015. In addition, the Commission's fiscal 2024 budget request asks for a sizable 14.8% increase in budget authority from regulatory fee offsetting collections. With the end of ACP now in sight, there are still a number of initiatives attempting to bridge the funding gap for the Affordable Connectivity Program. Most observers, however, rate the odds of an extension as low. ACP is not part of the latest budget package being considered in Congress, but could potentially be included in a number of bills slated to be voted on later this month. SpaceX this week receiving FCC approval to outfit 7,500 Gen 2 Starlink satellites with E-band communications capability. SpaceX has proposed operations in the 71.0 to 76.0 gigahertz and 81.0 to 86.0 gigahertz frequency bands for communications between satellites and gateway Earth stations. The FCC is deferring consideration of SpaceX's ongoing use of emergency beacons along with the remaining 22,488 Starlink satellites SpaceX proposed in its application. Altogether, SpaceX has filing applications for 29,988 additional satellites operating in orbits ranging between 340 and 614 kilometers of altitude. 50% of the Gen 2 satellites must be launched by December 1st of 2028, the rest by December 1st of 2031. A notable name change and rebranding for SCTE's flagship event beginning this fall. What was formerly known as Cable Tech Expo will now be known as Tech Expo. It's just the latest example of the word cable continuing to fall out of favor. Cable Labs, which owns SCTE, announced the name change this week with confirmation of a continued evolution beyond cable and into wireless and fiber-to-the-premises technologies. Tech Expo will take place September 24th through the 26th in Atlanta. Study after study continues to show a move away from pay TV. During 2023, the top providers lost more than 5 million video subscribers after losing 4.5 million during 2022. Comcast dropped more than 2 million, Charter over 1 million, Dish TV losing 945,000 subscribers. And finally, at the other end of the viewing spectrum, YouTube continues to flourish, and there's a related milestone of note. WWE just surpassed 100 million subscribers on its official YouTube channel. It's now one of only 10 channels worldwide to have surpassed that threshold. Of course, it didn't hurt that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson made a surprise return during WrestleMania 40 in Las Vegas last month. That alone brought in 100,000 subscribers in just one day. Since then, every single segment featuring The Rock has drawn more than 1 million views. WWE, now the largest sports channel on YouTube, number 10 overall, with more subscribers than the NFL, NBA, NHL, and Major League Baseball combined, and a total of more than 81 billion lifetime views. That's a whole lot of guys and gals coming over the top rope. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on This Week in the Broadband Universe.